Audio check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3 4. Testing 1 2 3. Hey Atlam, how are you doing? Hoping you can hear me all right. Hey Stormy, I'm well. How about you? You think you hear the music as well? It's at the end of the song, so it's kind of fading out. Might not be hearing much. Trying to get into session prep mode, doing well enough. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Stormy. Session prep mode is definitely a certain state of mind that it is difficult to get into sometimes. I feel that. Atlam, how was your weekend? Welcome back, Bremen. How are you doing? To be honest, yeah, like I think anytime you do any creation, content creation, can't lie, annoyed. What's going on? Something I can do to help? I mean, as long as it's Dungeon Alchemist related, I most likely can help. So you don't like running pre-made content, Stormy? But Bremen, let's hear it. I'd love to try and help. The only walls that can be placed without creating a building at this time is freestanding walls. That said, you can kind of do that. Here, let me show you. And get down to the floor level. So when you are generating a room, you have all these options under settings. So you could just turn off floors and do walls, for instance. I'll just generate this as an example. So there is, just walls, and they could be any of the shapes you can, mess with in DA. So at this time, freestanding walls is kind of the in-between. When, you don't have a wall option with a room that you're liking, you can use the freestanding ones. That said, I do know that some of the freestanding walls at this time are a little bit shorter now than the bumped up full walls. And I've pointed this out to the devs. They're aware of it. It's on the to-do list. So freestanding walls will get a little improvement to make them more in line with regular walls as well. But for now, if you need like something the right height, you can do one wall and then raise another one up just a little bit inside of it. So what exactly is the problem, Bremen? What's going on? Let's try to guide you through it. I haven't seen this post, so I have no idea. I'm coming in blind here. You know what? Let me see if I can find it. Might help. Okay. So you basically just want like a fence on the edge of a farm, right? I just found the post. Just found the post. I'm going to open a new map really quick. Let's use forest. And we'll just do flat. Okay, so Bremen. Hey, thank you for the follow, Relit1. Much appreciated. There's several ways to approach this problem that you're in right now. So I'm just gonna make a simple, like a cabin to illustrate like a farm or like a farmhouse. Nothing special. Depending on all these to generate something. And then I'm gonna make a wall around it. So you have the house, the farmhouse. Let's say you wanted to make a fence around it. One way to approach this. Hey, Chim, welcome back. Anani, how you doing? Hello, hello. So in these room types, right? You have like field, right? Different things that aren't necessarily rooms per se, but you can draw a room around the building with the room tool, which is kind of something that some people do and some people don't even think of. This gets a little crazy though, because it's like the whole map. Oops, that strip. Give this a moment. Highland Lass, welcome back. How are you? How was your weekend? Got a lot of people filing in now. So like this puts up a fenced field around it. And there's, some of this is like, certain floors. You can change this, maybe even put some mud around the house. I don't want to change every bit. That was a mistake. Accidentally clicked. Oh no, I undid too many times. Stand by, 1 second. Because obviously you don't want the whole thing to be fields. You could have some that's mud or whatever. This is like a simple, quick solution. Because as you can see, there's like a fence around the entire property, right? However, often people want like different shaped fences and whatnot. Oops. I accidentally delete the house. So you can use in the object menu, you can go to say paint objects. There are some like these spikes work great actually as like a primitive fence. Hold on, let me turn this up. Kind of like a fort fence or so, just like someone put something together and quickly made a fence out of like the forest area. Alternatively, you can go to the freestanding walls, like I mentioned before, and use those. Let's see here. Sorry. We have an assortment of freestanding walls. They are all amazing in making various types of walls, but you need to find one that fits your feel. You know what I mean? There's hundreds of them. So maybe this one's more like a primitive wall you might be making, so you can hold shift. Honestly, I'm still kind of in the middle of it. I haven't really fully covered it. So to be honest with you, you're definitely still learning. And honestly, Bremen, I would cover this again with you if you missed it. Today's stream is too offensive. What do you mean? What did I do, Svenster? I'm so confused, Svenster. Are you messing with me? Oh, Fence. Ah, I just got dad joked. Out dad jokes. Oh my goodness. You win. Here, let me give you the crown. You win. Okay, Bremen. So, let me show you a few options. I made this little cabin here, right? No, Bremen, I won't. Especially on a family-friendly stream. Let's try not to have these types of jokes. So let's say you just have a simple farm, right? Like a cabin or a farmstead, and you wanted the whole property around it to feel like it's a farm. So under village, there is the field option, right? You can just draw around the house for a small field. And if you don't do it on the entire like space around the property, meaning you kind of leave some of the space like this open, then it feels like there's like a more natural space. But what I'm going to do is go around this kind of whole area. This is one way to address your concern. There's several ways, so I'm going to show you this one first. This will generate with walls on the inside and outside. I can quickly delete them on the inside if I need to. So we could have 2 levels of fence, one for the outer stuff, one for the inner stuff. Or if you want, you can go into the wall tool and just quickly wipe this out. But basically you have kind of the farmland on the outside. And granted, this is a quick, easy solution. It's not perfect. If you want more plant life or if you want to diversify, you can start using the farm bed. Where is it? The garden one or the crop bed one. That's the one right there. To kind of mix and match here and there. So notice there's a fence around the entire property. Really quick, really simple. And if you want, you know, these fields, you can customize them, change the flooring in different areas so it's more... Oops. No, I don't want to change the whole thing. Chill out. I was talking to the devs about this recently. I'm not a big fan of the like immediate change. So this is kind of a simple, quick fix for having a property fence, right? I'm going to undo this. Oh, until there's only a cabin. The alternatives are using objects. So you have freestanding walls, which there's hundreds of under the object menu. This one I really like for making like a simple fence. You can hold shift and control and snap it into place, quickly kind of cover an area. Alternatively, if you have one placed, you can click on the object and turn it into a brush. And kind of, this doesn't necessarily look very good at the moment, right? Not a perfect solution. I will say this though, in our next update, major update, not minor hot fixes and stuff like that, there is actually a fix coming in that will allow you to link fences at different heights and different angles and draw out that stuff. One moment, I'm trying to find a video of it. I know there's a video of it here somewhere. This one. I think this is it. So there's a new feature coming out that will allow you to kind of like essentially quickly drag objects en masse that is coming in the next patch. But notice how he drew like that quick little separator. This outside fence was drawn the same way. Which map is it, Volkahar? I think I might even have one more video of this. I think this is some too. So essentially, and this has even gotten better, but this is on the horizon here. Like a more intuitive kind of path and fence drawing. So Bremen, you have a few options between, now there's some by hand options, the, object brush that you can create custom brushes from, the room draw option around the outside edge, a few different options. Actually, it's getting even better. I think it starts to sink down and align the entire fence too. So it's like the person who was building it had some logic and tried to keep it somewhat level. It's gotten more impressive than this. I was just shared a sneak peek of something. Do you guys want to see it, guys and gals? Raise of hands. Who wants a sneak peek of something from the next update? Bremen, I understand, man. Like, honestly, remember, Dungeon Alchemist is in early access, right? At the end of the day, there's going to be some things that make you scratch your head and wonder why. Because we're still on our path to final release. So, I hope you give us a little bit of grace when, but always, if you have concerns, come to me, talk to me. Let me help you out on the stream or in Discord or whatever. Because I try to turn these concerns directly into feedback for our devs, and they take it to heart quite a bit. Okay, we'll check out the Soul Forge in a minute. Yes, DM. Oh, DM Run, you raising your hands? I appreciate it, Bremen. Like, honestly, we try our best, and we're working hard for a team of 10. We're a very small team, but I think that'll give us a lot of longevity and more options than like a AAA team. There are quite a few conventions that they do in Europe, but none in the US so far. I've been trying to make that happen. There's some talks about it with me and myself and the devs. We also have kind of a sort of an angel investor that wants to donate a chunk to help us start doing conventions in the US. It's kind of hard to do when, the company's based in Belgium. I'm the only US based employee. So essentially we'd have to have a whole booth just for our US conventions and one just for our European conventions. Man, Anani, I'd be jealous. You'd get to meet my bosses before me. I've only talked to them online. Yeah, Volkahar, I'd like to do one in Vegas to get started, and probably can try to do the major tabletop gaming conventions. But yeah, this is definitely something we're working on for sure. I hope sooner than later it's released. Oh, it's a great location for sure. I mean, it's a hub with international flight, plenty of convention options. There's literally a convention center and hundreds of hotels with their own convention options. Oni Gadget Girl. Well, welcome to the stream, and I'm glad that you are welcome to the stream today, I should say. And I'm glad that you're enjoying Dungeon Alchemist. Honestly, like, I think when the devs set out to make it, they wanted to make something that was easy to use, right? And can quickly resolve maps, right? Make maps in moments. That being said, not everyone has, adhered to that sort of that mentality with DA, because it's a really great map maker for more advanced maps, not just simple quick maps, right? And as Dungeon Alchemist has grown and been updated and changed, there has been so many additions to the overall development that not only am I very proud of, but I'm eager to see the future of. Relit, nice. Welcome to the community. Are you guys going to Cologne this year? I don't know where they're going for conventions, Bremen. That's a very good question. I'll ask the devs if the next chance I get. I think we get both ends of the spectrum there. Yeah, right, Anani. The only way is up. But yeah, Mondu, I think, we get map makers who make maps in a few clicks, and then we have some who spend hundreds of hours making maps, right? You're going to Cologne? That sounds cool. Palagna? Hey, Spyro, welcome to the stream. I like your name. Spyro the Dragon was like one of my favorite games when I was a kid. I didn't really understand it. I kind of was horrible at it, but it was just fun. Oni Gadget Girl, have I got some news for you. Watch this. Lava is actually something that's been a part of Dungeon Alchemist for some time. We have a few biomes that, or at least a biome that appeals to that. The Skeletal Plains biome, if you check it out, it's like mostly bones to start, but all the things you can paint seems like hellscapes or, the 9 hells and different realms like that. Cracked floor tiles. Interesting. Let me think. We do have some burnt walls and floors. That being said, I don't think that fits into the hells. Yeah, you're looking for obsidian, huh? That's an interesting concept. Magma and obsidian. Let me show you a map I just worked on. I wonder if you might like it. Let me save this one twice. I don't want to lose anything I've done today. I'll double check the map here in a second, Atlam, but I just made this map, which I call the Bone Forge, right? And it is a volcano, which was formed at the site of a massive battle, like an eon ago, like several millennia ago. A mage, in a moment of desperation, cast a spell which essentially turned this entire area into a volcano. And the pyroclastic flow from that essentially immediately killed hundreds of thousands of people. So, kind of getting back to this map, I used the Skeletal Plains biome, like I'm telling you. It has some scarred or scorched stuff. This one here really looks obsidian, or that one there, a kind of a combination of scorched earth. This map in particular, though, I was building it every Monday for the last month or so. And the point of it was that some dwarves whose ancestors died on this battlefield found out that there was like a fissure, a cave that leads underneath and you can access the lava, right? And they learned that the lava has a really high content of carbon due to it being, you know, just right next to all of these corpses, like millions of bones all day. And they're able to craft a very rare and durable metal here that we call Damantium, i.e. Damascus. So essentially they have to use heat shield potions, and there's a heat wall shield here to protect themselves while they come out here to gather, you know, molten slag. And then they come in here and make different weapons and shields and armor out of it. But anyway, this particular biome I feel is great for volcanic and or you know, that type of like hellish bioscape. Do me a favor, find this map on the workshop. If you click Steam Workshop, go to Browse Maps and type Bone Forge. You can check out this build and kind of get an idea of what, you know, that might work for what you're looking for, at least that aesthetic. It's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. I know what you're looking like. Cracks and other things would be very cool, which I think our next update might address. There is a feature called the shoot, why am I losing my train of thought right now? It's basically a stamp tool that you can stamp images on top of stuff. So you can stamp cracks or footsteps or, you know, any number of things on top of ground, walls, objects, etc. The decal tool. Yep, I just lost my train of thought. Thank you, everyone. Still quite early for Mac. It's only 9:30 in the AM. Okay. Let's see here. Dyson, I feel that vibe. Honestly, I add stuff to maps no one will ever see, but it's more for me than anything. Like, I get a lot of fun and comfort from making maps. Like, it's very cathartic, if you will. It's a lot of I get a lot of satisfaction from making maps, even if no one ever uses them. You know what? I appreciate that. You sharing your maps on the workshop is like seriously ace behavior. It's damn cool. You get it, Bremen. So you're going to meet up in Denmark with your friend who you've been hanging out with online since like 2006. That is dope. Okay, I'm gonna start adding these pillars, but I'm worried about it because I feel like some of them will just disappear later. It's okay. Gotta have like support beams in some of these places, right? I added them manually, Chim. Because all of this is made from like reclaimed wood and like things that like they could find in the area. It definitely has a kobold vibe to it, but it's just really just reclaimed anything. Crates, planks, anything they could pull apart and turn into this structure, they did. Wow, man, that's crazy. How long has WoW been a game now? It's like over 20 years, isn't it? Such an iconic game that people have been just playing and making friendships over for such a long time. Myri says agree from YouTube says agreed. It's so fun to make them and set up cool screenshots as well. I have a bunch I need to upload to the workshop. Honestly, I appreciate that, Myri. Like, the more we share assets and maps on the workshop, the better it is for our community as a whole. We all like benefit from it, right? 2004. I remember when it released because I was working at Best Buy at the time, right? And there was a bunch of my roommates and other like fellow employees were obsessed with the game when it came out. Oh, you don't need to convince me. I believe you. Should I put one more pillar in this kind of length area? Something like that. Looks good. Precarious, one strong breeze. Hey, I don't need you to judge my building skills. Oh, nice. What kind of projector did you get, Bremen? Enchanting nails. Are y'all ready to hear about my session yesterday? I think we got enough people watching now that we can talk about it. Bit of duct tape. Yep. That's the MacGyver motto. Duct tape. Never leave home without it. You know, I'll be honest with you. That's kind of a two-way street there, Oni Gadget Girls. So we've kind of discussed with Roll20 if they can increase their file sizes because most virtual tabletops aren't quite as, let's just say, small as theirs are. We currently don't do video exports for them for that reason because they kind of have a small upload limit, right? Or file size limit. They did recently increase it within the last year, and that's a move in the right direction. I hope with time they both increase it and we optimize our exports so they're smaller. I will say this though, if you export, say, a Foundry WebM, and then you can take that WebM online and even reduce that. There's plenty of tools that can reduce the file size, compress it, if you will. Robert by Grabthar's hammer. How you doing, Robert? Welcome back. That's cool, Bremen. You got to send some screenshots in the Discord of that. I'd love to see it when it's all said and done. You know what I mean? Like when you have some maps on it. This one here. Glad to hear it, Robert. Okay, so we've got some pillars here. So this, by the way, this is called the Last Drop Souvenir and General Store. It'll have a shop, right? It has stables. Okay. It has it'll have a general store here. It'll have an inn, like a tavern, and a little inn with like a few rooms at the top. And there is an oasis here. And this is essentially the last pit stop for hundreds of miles, leagues in every direction. What biome is this map on? It's on Badlands is the biome I'm on right now. And I used Badlands particularly because I wanted it to feel like it was a very, vast old dead desert, or kind of like the Australian Badlands, etc. Okay, let's start talking about it. So yesterday, my group got together for the first time in a month. Right, a sign like that would be great. I think I'm going to have a little road kind of meandering into it, and then a road passing by the oasis, and then wandering out of the region out to the side eventually. But for now, I'm setting up kind of essentially an opportunistic, traveler, and realize that a lot of people pass by this oasis on their travels. So we set up like a little shop where you can sell, souvenirs, general items for survival, equipment for adventuring, magic items, and also rooms. We started working on this last week, so we haven't really done a whole lot yet, but I think it's coming along, to be honest with you. The stables look really great. In fact, I kind of wanted to fill this up with like hay and like, like places to put up, saddles and other stuff like that. There are some signs too that we can just customize, so we might be able to do that. And I have some smaller kind of stables for smaller animals, and then larger ones for larger animals. They do indeed look stable. Thank you, Jim, for that. Hardy har. Okay. So, group gets together. We are heading into a kind of like a dungeon, if you will, in a long-term encounter that we've been gearing up for a long while. About 6 sessions ago, we took out this crime lord who had wronged all of us and wrongfully imprisoned the majority of us. Or at least got us all wrongfully imprisoned because he was getting paid to get people arrested. So, essentially, we were taking out this crime lord, and on him we found a document that said he was promised an item called the Black Sigil, which it was like a very powerful magic object. We weren't sure what it was, and since he wronged us, we followed this thread and went and retrieved the Black Sigil for ourselves, which was another dungeon quite a few sessions ago called Carthax Hollow. So we cleared that out and got in there. There was a whole bunch of encounters, constructs, cultists, aberrants, shadow dragon or drake. We cleared that place out, got the sigil, and then started prepping to use it, which we found out it was essentially not only a powerful magical item, but a key to what is essentially like a vault called Vorthun's Maw. And the Maw has tons of treasure and relics and items in it, so we were interested in that. The book, the Black Sigil, is actually a cursed item that you can use as a magic item, gives you a bunch of powers, but it's also like a detriment to the squad, so we decided no one's going to use it. I built a safe out of granite, a solid block of granite, and using shapestone to make like a massive, heavy, solid safe to store this thing in, and the book is wrapped in lead inside this granite safe, inside a portable hole, which I keep the portable hole's handkerchief hidden in a secret pocket in my sleeve, because I don't want anyone to find this book. It's bad. It's bad news. But the book is a key to get into this next dungeon that we just started into. So to get to this place, we needed a boat, which we have a person who we've worked with in the past named Scaeus Cross. He has a little skiff, schooner, if you will, and he sailed us around before, taught us to sail, and we had him take us to the entrance to the Maw, which is along kind of like a craggy, rocky coast, and there was like a cave there. When we arrived, we discovered 2 young brass dragons guarding the entrance. One of our teammates is very dragon-coated. He is a changeling who was raised by a group of dragonborns that worship a dragon. The dragon and his horde and all the dragonborns accepted like this changeling who shapeshifted into a dragonborn as part of their family. And so most of his life, he took the shape of a dragonborn. And he is very, very dragon-coated, right? Loves dragons, loves everything about them. So he wanted to try and negotiate and talk to these brass dragons, which typically brass dragons, you would assume they would have a moderate temperament and not necessarily be eager to fight. Not so much in our DM's kind of homebrew environment. So well, if you use the book, it's cursed. It's attuned to you, and you cannot remove it until you're like a much higher level or buy a scroll that none of us can afford. So we all kind of committed to not using it. That being said, yeah, I could see some people in our group using it haphazardly. We basically, when we approached this shore, saw the dragons and tried to talk to them, tried to negotiate, compromise, whatever. And as soon as we mentioned that we were heading into that cave, they immediately became hostile, wanted to attack us. So we essentially had to defend ourselves right away. So we got into initiative and are fighting 2 young brass dragons who, right out the gate, were just messing up our frontliners. We're on this tiny little schooner with maybe 10 squares of space. So we're all kind of crammed in like sardines, and their attacks are like, you know, area of effect attacks. So they like tried to scare the whole group on their first pass. They failed except for one person who almost was like frightened, and they had another check, and then they succeeded on that one, so they weren't. They did alternating fire attacks on us, so we split the group up. Some of us have like mariner's armor and swimming gear, so there was like a rock to the side. Myself and a paladin swam over to the side to draw the attention of one of the dragons so they weren't hitting us each round, all of us. And the rest of the crew took on the other dragon. So they started hitting it with everything they had. I did like a check on them, and we realized they were immune to fire damage, which we're a heavy fire-loaded squad. Like our heavy hitter, which is a coffee lock, is very fire. Like the dragon guy, he has a few fire spells, but he also has Eldritch Blast, so he fell back on that. Was doing tons of damage and quickening spells to do more. He alone took down like half of the damage or health of one of the dragons. I hit one of them with a mind spike and then also with a catapult, like a level 3 catapult and a level 4 mind spike. Tons of damage, and I recovered some spell slots doing that because I'm a divination wizard. So I'm like recycling spell slots as I do this. So essentially the battle goes on for about 4 or 5 rounds. We take out the dragon on the left through attrition, and then the whole team focuses on the dragon on the right, which myself and the paladin were tanking and just like hiding behind cover to keep it distracted. Once we took them both out, we were trying to like harvest material from them. They're dragons, thinking, hey, scales, teeth, whatever. Everyone did so bad on the checks. I asked before, like, everyone started doing checks. I'm like, hey, if I used a specific tool, can I get a better, like, roll on my checks? And he's like, do you have a tool that works for that? And there's, like, monster gathering tools or monster hunting tools or whatever, foraging tools that are now available in one of the new books as like a general tool, right? And because I had the all-purpose tool as an artificer, like multi-dip, I was able to turn it into that tool and get a bonus. I still, out of everyone, I rolled just a bit higher. It was so bad. 2 young brass dragons. Guess how much material we got out of them? Just guess. Two teeth. The dragons' bodies were too destroyed to salvage anything but 2 teeth. So at this point, we everyone got like really bad survival checks, like 3s, 5s. I got like a 14 or like a 10 or a 12, somewhere in there, after everyone got really low checks. So he's like, yeah, you guys only got 2 teeth. They were essentially just destroyed. So at this point, we decide, hey, let's take a short rest. That was quite a battle. Everyone's short resting. My wife runs off because she's hungry, wants to go grab snacks for myself and her and the son and our son. So she runs off, and we're taking a short rest and kind of RPing and hanging out. And I, being a hobbit, a halfling, I'm like, I'm gonna fish. I pull out my fishing pole. I'm like, can I just toss my fishing line over the side and do some fishing while we're hanging out waiting for everyone? DM's like, sure. Go ahead and roll for me. So I had to roll like I think it was like a nature check or something. And I ended up critting. So basically he goes, oh, wow, you caught something big. You notice your fishing line begins tightening under the boat into the cave you were intending to go to. As you fight and drag it to the surface, you realize it's a large, like a massive electric eel. So I hauled in what was a monster we were supposed to fight in our next encounter, and we immediately go into initiative. My wife isn't even in the room yet because she's out like getting snacks. Everyone's like, oh, wait, we got to fight now? Way to go, Mac. Way to go. So I'm holding it, like holding the fishing line, keeping it up. And then everyone's taking turns attacking it. And I ask if I could wedge the fishing line into the side of the boat, right? So it's like just kind of holding there. And I guess I didn't specify clearly enough that it was going to be just like kind of wedged and locked and latched and like it wouldn't get away. That was my intention, right? Well, no. He was like, well, you didn't say you put a lock on the reel, so it started swimming underneath. And so our paladin grabbed the reel and started pulling it in because he's much stronger than I am. So essentially, one of our teammates is holding the reel, trying to fish this guy in because when he's in water, we can't really see him. We have disadvantage. And he has advantage on all his attacks. We know electricity's probably out, so we can't use that. When he's in water, he has resistance to fire damage, right? So it's like, oh my gosh. We were trying to figure out what to do. I have a dagger that can telepathically like locate and pinpoint like where a target is that we've seen before or it's familiar with. And I actually slashed at the eel when it like ran away from us because I got an opportunity attack. So I was like, hey, can you pinpoint where it is, where the eel is? And it told me, and I used prestidigitation to mark the area on the water where it was just below. And then our whole party just started unloading on it. And then the paladin pulled it up. When it was above water, we just gave it the coup de grace, finished it off in a big salvo of hits. And then we did try to recover material from it. I got a really good roll. 400 pounds of eel meat. So we went from 2 dragon teeth to 400 pounds of eel meat. So we had plenty of sashimis, if you will. So we started talking about, like, what are we going to do with all this? The captain with us could definitely take it back and sell it. We asked how much it would make us. DM was like 360 gold, roughly. We're like, ugh, not worth it. Because we wanted the captain to stay there and wait for us while we investigated. Right? It is the duality of looting in D&D. 2 teeth, 400 pounds of freaking eel meat. Anyway, we finally decide, hey, I'm going to just recover a little bit of the eel meat, right? We put it in a bag of holding, like 20 pounds of it, nothing big. And then the rest we just dump off the boat to the side because we don't know what to do with it. We're not fishermen, we're adventurers. We joked about that because, like, wait, are we fishermen now? Are we going to just run all this eel meat back instead of do this adventure? No, let's go on the adventure. So we left all the eel meat that was advantageous to us. The DM, it said it chummed up the water, and all the eels that were in the caves came out and started gorging on the dead eel. So essentially, it allowed us to sneak by without encountering those eels. So instead of fighting 4 of them, we only had to fight 1. So my crazy halfling fishing encounter actually benefited the group. I was quite surprised it turned out that way. So we ended up beating this eel, killing it, chumming the water. All his buddies ate him. We snuck past into the maw. When we entered the maw, which was through a underwater cave, we all had high enough stealth checks to avoid the basilisk from noticing us that was in there, kind of guarding the entrance to the cave. So we swam into the ocean, through an underwater cavern, and into like an air pocket cave. So, essentially, we now have entered the cave, which was our main goal. Quite a bit of combat to get into it at this point. A large, massive moray eel, electric eel, and 2 young brass dragons just to get into this place. As soon as we get in, we're stealthily kind of Navy sealing, popping out of the water like this, looking, and we see the basilisk. But because it didn't notice us, we got a round of surprise. And in that round, we downed him. He did not even get off an attack. We surfaced, got into the land there. And we were able to get a good roll on, investigating the basilisk's body for any materials. I was able to recover a vial of basilisk blood, which can be used to turn one person, to undo the petrify condition on one person. So pocketed that. That's good, right? That's helpful. In this cave, there's water, and then to the side, there's some lava tubes. And I say to our very low intelligence fighter, who tends to get in a lot of trouble, just accidents galore. He tends to like walk into traps and just, ignore all logic. I tell him, hey, the red water over there is very hot. Do not touch it. It's actually called lava. It's not safe. It's very, very dangerous. And I say this as a joke because his character often just gets into shenanigans, right? And he immediately turns and walks over to the lava. And he goes over to check it out, and then immediately some kind of lava monster, a lava weird, appears and starts attacking him. I'm like, what did I just say? It was quite hilarious, to say the least. Anyway, so he's having to fight off this lava weird. Our party is level 7, a group of 6. Love it. Looks good. So we're fighting this lava weird, and he grows in size. And he, he's like pretty big. He's like large at this point. And our fighter friend is kind of like soloing him on that side as we all get into position and take him out. And I'm thinking, man, he's lava. Maybe if I put him in the water, that might help us. But then that might make it a whole like steam cave and we might just die. So I'm thinking, no, not a good idea. Well, what if I hit him with a cold spell? So I hit him with, it's not chilled touch. What's the other one? The cold spell. It's like a cantrip. Gosh, why am I just so brain dead this morning? Anyway, I hit him with that spell, and he actually shrinks in size. I was like rewarded for my ingenuity here. So he's back to like a medium size. I hit him with Ray of Frost is what it was called. Sorry, my bad. Ray of Frost. And we need water, huh? These guys need water. Let's do troughs. Let's check out a few of them. Some of them are larger, so we can put them, wherever. Others, though, we may have to shrink or get creative with the placement. Let's try this trough. That one looks kind of fun, and we can put it directly below the water after we shrink it. DM Randall, we try to do a show every Monday and every Saturday, kind of without fail. How you doing today, my friend? Welcome back. So I hit him with the, the ray of cold or whatever, and then he shrunk a little bit, and then our anti-combat fairy, who basically buffs us, debuffs enemies, really doesn't like to do damage unless they're considered like dead, like an undead or something that's not really considered human or humanoid. They'll like usually attack. They shrink it using enlarge reduce. So now it went from a large creature down to a medium creature down to a small creature inside of our turns, like a few turns. And then it's so small, right? At this point, everyone just pummels it and then it dies. So we survive that encounter. We kind of heal up, kind of, regroup. And then there's like lava tube caves that go off to the side, but not all of us can fly. So we're kind of thinking that might not be a good approach. It could be an alternate route though. So I don't know. We may come back to it, or it might have treasure or some kind of alternate encounter to the side. That said, we end up pushing forward into the caves. As we come around the corner, there's like these, I don't even know what they are. They're some sort of aberrant. They look like kind of like gross, white looking kind of faceless horrors with just a bunch of holes in their face. And then they have tentacle like legs and some arms. Not 100% certain what they were. We fought those guys for several rounds. They have a lot of HP, it feels like a lot. Very hard to just take them down. So the rounds went rather long, but we did take them out. So that was good. That was a win. Did a lot of damage to our fighter who likes to just kind of jump into the mess of everything. He took like hundreds of points of damage during our session yesterday. We just kept healing him or short resting or whatever. And yeah, he still pulled through, surprisingly. So when these guys die, they like burst into like piles of goop, like goo. And so we essentially were very grossed out by them. They're kind of an unsettling, aberrant horror of some sort that you look at and it's just like, ugh, you know, tryptophobic looking monster. Anyway, we took those out and then we moved on to the next section. There was a group of those and then an illithid commanding them. So, you know, more aberrations. We took out all of his buddies, right? And one of them we took out by knocking him into lava, and he burnt up and died, so that was beneficial to us. There's like 4 or 5 of those gross, like, tentacle things with no eyes. No face, just holes in its face. Took them out, and then the illithid was all that was left, and then we had to wrap up the session because we ran long. So, essentially, it was just encounter after encounter after encounter, which I feel like makes sense. We're kind of clearing the entry to this new place, which is likely heavily guarded, as we've discovered. So it's been kind of interesting, to say the least. Yeah, he definitely knows my weakness. Oh, by the way, so I am very like heavy loaded with psychic damage and fire damage, and our main attacker who does like tons of damage, who is like, he's very heavily front loaded with fire as well, and we were almost useless on most of these encounters. Aberrants are either immune or resistant to psychic damage, so I couldn't hit them with my mind spikes. The brass dragons were immune to fire damage, so firebolt and fireball were useless. I just felt very underpowered in these encounters. I don't think they were necessarily meted around our abilities, but that's kind of what we get when we kind of have a lot of our power and damage around fire. You know what I mean? I still had force, you know, acid, bludgeoning damage spells, so I could fall back on them, cold, electric, etc. But it was just frustrating when my most powerful spells were useless. You know what I mean? I think I'm going to delete these and then put just a pile of hay there. Oh, happened. Sunk underground. That was weird. I'll probably just put this bale here. Down. That looks pretty good. And then, I think it's under... under carts, like some of the horse stuff. Can't remember where it's stored. But we've got some of these things that I want to grab. Saddle. Trestle. Tuck them in these corners here. Pretty good, but just a little bit too big. We're going to shrink it down just a little bit more. Pack in 3 of these here. Honestly, I hope it sounded okay. I kind of was like obviously paraphrasing from memory, so I may miss things here and there. For the most part, I gave you every encounter and all the silliness that we ran into. Let's do a bucket. Let's do... that one there, and then maybe like a broom. How was everyone's weekend? Did you all do anything fun? Did you get any gameplay in? If you did, let's hear about it. So this priest said that name and now they're suspicious of him? Too funny. I think the funniest part of the session was when I was fishing just to chill during our short rest and ended up causing an encounter. Ain't I a stinker? Yes, basically. I did have a Pokemon encounter. You're right. Trying to think of what to put in this side. I was thinking like a little workbench, like a farrier's table or something like that. Crazy, we don't have horseshoes. Yeah, it's just crazy that we don't have such a generic item. You know what I mean? Hmm. Hmm. Find a good shelf, find a good shelf. Not bad. Looking good. What do you mean, what changed? Ah, gotcha. Glad to hear it, Rev. Also, Chim, I'm waiting on bated breath for the rest of your story. Let's hear it. Right? Gotta use some prestidigitation to change your smell, right? Uh-oh. Sounds like they made a mistake. Rev, are you enjoying the new Artificer? Shoulder hurts today. Don't know why. Okay, in this area, I need like a little counter, like some paperwork on it or something, like a little workbench. Those knives make it seem kind of ominous. Got a disheveled document here and something with a stamp. Maybe some scrolls and a book. Ooh, you know what one would be really good in here? The ledger. You know, Randall, that's a good question. One thing I would recommend is remember Dungeon Alchemist also has camera tools to capture your maps at other angles. So, like, if you're unhappy with, you know, just the top down exports, which is traditional method of play, the majority of people who have ever played tabletop games play them in a top down method. You know, D&D, Pathfinder, etc. 3D is a very new kind of thing, only just recently introduced to the scene when it comes to tabletop gaming. That being said, obviously our maps export in a top-down or a 3D perspective, so a flattened or a 3D perspective. And then lastly, you can dive into your maps with, say, the first-person camera or the cinematic camera, and then start getting screenshots or video to give your players. So this is a very powerful use to give your players like a handout or something that they can kind of get a visualization of the map from this perspective. Whether it's in a drone camera that you fly through an area and get different angles or screenshots for handouts, or you even can stream this live video to them over like Discord or Teams or whatever. My personal favorite is just popping a token in the map and following along with what the players do. So if the players in top down are at this staircase, I'd be standing here so they could see what it looks like in first person. Or if they're investigating the stables, it would look something akin to this when they go in. Whether it's a screenshot that I give them as a handout, or... Sorry, excuse me. Got a hiccup. Or a video or streamed. Let me get some water here. It should help with those hiccups. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do understand that it can be a bit of a disappointment when you're trying to build a map in 3D and you want to export it in a full 3D for, say, Tabletop Simulator or something akin to that. That said, I just think we're a little, like, as a whole, gaming, you know, tabletop gaming is quite a ways away from like an optimized full 3D experience that's open end. And by that, I mean, there are 3D experiences out there, but usually they're like a closed ecosystem, like Tailspire, for instance. A lot of people like their maps, but also kind of find them a little bit difficult to make or somewhat restricting. And, you know, a lot of people like our maps and want it to work in their system or others. It's just something Dungeon Alchemist wasn't really meant for at the end of the day, was full 3D export. So while we don't offer that completely, we do give you many ways to immerse your players in your map at different angles. Oh, Wardian, that's cool. How did it go? Okay, let's get back into the stables because I'm really vibing with my work in here right now. I get rid of this guy. What other things would you want in the stables, people? I think I'm gonna put this like bread peel back here for scoop and poop, obviously. A horse? Yeah, we could put some animals in here. So we've got places to store saddles. We've got some hay. We've got, you know, a workstation. Obviously water out here, which I'm going to make a path to. Maybe even a private path for the stables to get to this. No, they just go around like everyone else. And they fill it up with a bucket and come back. Yeah, the water source is right here. This oasis, if you will. And then they bring it back and then bring it into the stables. We might put a barrel or something in here so it's like a more readily available source. But at the end of the day, yeah, this the water source here is this right out at the edge. I like the idea of buckets, though. I'll probably put another bucket. Dang, Moose. I'm jealous. That's crazy cool. Interesting, Wardian. That's cool. I've never really heard of anyone using Dungeon Alchemist that way. I commend thee. I think I need an inkwell in here. What other things should I have in this little ticket booth kind of area? You might have a drink, candle, like a light seems like, or a lamp. Little oil lamp in there. I do like this cup a lot. So this area is where people will like come bring in their their mounts, their pets to stable them for the night, right? Get them out of the sun, get them some food and water. So it's not necessarily a ticket booth, but you definitely would like pay or exchange documents, right? That's some rope over here, but we could definitely use some more. You know what you did, Mondu. I'm gonna clear this out and make like a little roadway coming in. We'll head out to here somewhere. I'm gonna make it look more natural. The plant life obviously doesn't match the aesthetic or vibe I'm going for here. Can move some of these like over here. This rock can probably get tucked back in. We'll have to do. I don't like deleting the plant life. I like just moving it around. If I can avoid deleting stuff, I usually try to. I'll repurpose it. Right? It does need one. Like one of these, right? Right. That seems like a good fit. We'll add some more of those with time. Though I don't think it's a good idea right next to the water. Kind of one of those. I need some lighting in the stables too. That's one thing it's severely lacking at the moment. Think one like big central chandelier, or should I put lighting on the end of like the posts for each area, or lighting in the areas? Island Lass, I need your input on this. Oh my goodness. Oh. What else could we put in here? Something hanging on the wall that he needs. We could also keep a wheelbarrow in here somewhere. Watch this. So all the other horses get jealous, right? I'm going to extend out this balcony a little bit here. Too much balcony. Too much still. Just do a little piece here. Still don't like that either. And delete those. Undo that one and just delete that one. Yeah, looks better that way. Oh, what do they call that? Like silver dioxide or something? Or what is it? Sulfur dioxide or something? It's like near volcanoes. It's like if you get too close, you could immediately just die. What is it called? Isn't that what it's called? I can't remember the name of the sulfur dioxide. That's right. And one way to deter, like people and ancient people used to discover it. Obviously, when people drop dead, that's one way. But if you had silver, like it would turn dark immediately if it was near it. This gas, so they would like put a piece of silver out on the end of a stick. Want a little mailbox here next to the staircase so people can send off their mail. That also might be good at the top of the staircase. There's like this little dead space here. I'll leave that one there and we'll check them in both spots. See which one we like better. So at the top of the staircase or at the bottom? I kind of like the bottom. Feel bad for the mailman having to go up. Hydrogen sulfide, yep, and sulfur dioxide. It's been a while since I've thought about that kind of stuff. But yeah, that stuff's terrifying. Like, it's like a very deadly gas that you don't even know until you pretty much have already breathed it in and are dead. That sign ain't working for me. Though, I am going to use one of these, though. That'll be like at the crossroads over here. I've never really experienced it, so I wasn't aware. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Technically, like the test isn't very useful, and in most cases. It looks like a good place for the sign. That, or we could put a sign kind of over this part of the banister here. Wish we had just this business sign right here, not hanging on something, that wood piece. Like that sign piece. I could just put it on the side of a business. Something like that. I could. Are you making fun of me? Yeah, upvoting is not a thing anymore. For us, at least. Oh, man. You live in Hawaii, Wardian? That's cool. None of these look anything like this. Yeah, I was going to reach out to you, man. I've been kind of thinking about that. But to be honest with you, I got to talk to the devs about it too. So it's kind of a something up into the air until I speak with them. Also, it was the weekend, so hope you forgive me there for not reaching out to you right away. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. It looks more rickety. I definitely saw your message and I apologize. I will be reaching out to you sooner than later. There's like a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes right now that I'm trying to like take care of, and yeah. So I think I'm just like, at least until like I get some of this stuff squared away, I'm just a little bit frazzled at the moment trying to deal with it. but I will be reaching out to you soon, my friend. Trying to figure out which table would be best here. Oh my goodness. Oh, that hurt. My sneezes get really insanely aggressive. Don't understand why, but they do. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about the stables right now. We could put some more poopies here and there. Ooh. We've got our little entrance kind of mapped out here. Up here on this balcony, I need to think of what to do with it. I was thinking like a bench or something where people could sit and stare out, you know? Because this space is kind of wasted at the moment, and I want to do something with it. Help me come up with suggestions for this space here. I was wanting to put like a wooden statue up at the entrance, you know, kind of like those, like a bear, something like this. But it's not like a full statue, so something like that. And then I was gonna put like the bird up on the top, like the eagle. So in the US, like it's very common at like tourist like places, souvenir shops, tourist trap shops, you know, along like like popular routes and stuff, they'll have carved wooden statues in front of them of like a bear or a totem or something like this that essentially, I don't know why it's such a common thing. I don't know if it was just like a, someone saw it and they're like, I'm going to do that, and then a bunch of other people did it, or if it's more of a like a reason behind it. Chainsaw and chisel art for sure. Yeah, that's what it is. One of my neighbors was really good at the chainsaw art, and he had several bears and a few different things in front of his house like that, but he would sell them all the time for like mad money. Okay, let's start mapping out this area here. I want like some benches, maybe a table or something here where people can sit and relax. It's hit or miss. If we're going to have a player miss, like we only get together once a month, our group. So if a player's going to miss for like a personal reason or a work thing or whatever, usually we'll just do a side quest with the remaining players, and then one of us controls their character and just kind of plays it like they would play. If it's going to be like a major story or something changing upcoming, we often definitely do not want to like disinclude someone from that, so we'll just stall and do side quests or other things until we can follow the main line with them. Does that make sense? Highland Lass, that's a good question. I know the devs are investigating this and trying to patch it right now. Carl was asking me about it recently, and we were discussing, objects being deleted above and objects to the side, etc. The hope is that we'll sort that out sooner than later. They're doing like a bunch of hot fixes right now behind the scenes, and they're hoping to release a patch before month's end with all those hot fixes. But also it'll show like a bunch of quality of life improvements, hot fixes, and then the new split printed maps up feature. So you can take a massive map and split it into a bunch of printed maps. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Hey, that makes sense, Anani. And if you play enough, it may be hard to have side quests, but you might want to just bank up a few on the side just in case. Hey, a lord in the region needs them to help them with a current, like with a private matter that they don't want to involve the local guard and police with. Maybe you got invited to an event, like a party. Or someone in the area who had some side work and needed it done. Regardless, there could be any number of quests you could pop into when not all the players are there, so you don't miss out on main story, but then the other players don't lose their session. I do understand, though, not wanting to, have the session go on if not all the players can be there. I think it's a case-by-case situation. If our group played every week, we'd probably play like that. But since we only play once a month, I think everyone's so eager to play, they'd rather just get a side quest, and then we group up next month for something important. Little one-shot side quests are great. Like, we did a couple of those recently. One of them was a lady in town who was running a shop was a friend of one of our, like, companions in the town who we do quests for. And she was being attacked and like bullied by these guys who were saying they wanted her to leave her shop and give it to them. or were trying to rob her and stuff. So she asked for help. She didn't have a lot of money, but her friend was like, hey, can you help this lady? I don't want her to, you know, have to deal with this. She's just an old, like, helpless old woman who needs help. So we went and did the quest. It was like 600 gold. Wasn't a lot, you know, or like it wasn't a whole lot for the group. The guy who sent us paid for it. And then a couple of us ended up giving money back to him. The quest before we did as a side quest, there was like I said, like a rich, you know, lord in the area who had a private matter he needed dealt with. His wife was sick for some reason and he felt she was cursed and wanted us to investigate it. Or yeah, you could do origin adventures. That's a great one to do their backstory tie-ins. I realized I haven't saved in a hot minute, so I'm gonna save. Origin adventures is a really nice idea. Yeah, we do that when we play as their character for them. We give them a play-by-play. One of us will usually take notes or remember and send them like a play-by-play of what they did, and they love it. Also, we try to play as close to their play style as possible. So like our passive fairy player that doesn't like hurting people, when we were playing as her character, we would often buff the party or debuff the enemies or do silly things to them to slow them down instead of actually damaging people. However, when there was undead, we would use her to attack, you know, like she would attack here and there. Anyway, okay, let's put in like a counter here. I want a neat little counter for this shop. What? Why? Didn't this one just snap there? Or am I crazy? Oh, that is so obnoxious. Oh, wow, Chin, that's a good idea too. A little bit of intrigue. Party member got replaced by a doppelganger. Uh-oh. Is this too much? You could just do something like this, right? Um, Rigel, so Technically, that's not something that is a stock feature currently. You can populate rooms with objects, but not with people or tokens. That is a good question, a good suggestion. We do have tokens and you can place them, but any way you can place them quickly would just copy that token, the one that you're placing, right? So it isn't very natural to have a bunch of the same person, right? So while there are tokens options that you can, use from our stock assortment, as well as thousands of tokens on the Steam Workshop to choose from, there is no way to place them other than manually at this time. What's going on? Workshop search isn't working. Horse. There we go. There she blows. Small. The problem is, Atlam, that'll just paint a singular object over and over again, not many different ones. You know what I mean? So that doesn't really work unless they want hundreds of the same animal. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Should we do a panda bear or a polar bear? This brown bear is animated too, but a little bit bigger. I think the panda bear would be fun. It's a nice little assortment. I like it. Ultimately, I might even ended up converting this stall into just like a big like horse or like water thing, or even a well, an indoor well right here. Just something where they can pull water from easily that links into this. But I like what we've got so far downstairs. It's looking good. Very happy with it. We're going to move on to these upper ledges and start working on the general store. With, I'm going to have like shelves and stuff along the walls and like walk through areas with shelves and with stuff just all over them. Some magic items, some souvenirs, and also adventuring gear combination. That said, I think it's pretty much time to wrap up for the day. Oh. Sure, Lovelocan, let's hear it. This is coming along, everyone. I think it's starting to look really good. Obviously, we'll kind of set up the roads a little bit, kind of going in and passing through the region to another area. And then we'll kind of, I'm thinking of adding some campsites or something over here where people can, you know, camp for the night if they don't want to afford the or pay for the inn. Oh, USMC Ninja. Glad to hear it, my man. Glad to hear it. How did it go? What happened? So we'll work on the general store next session, get it all hammered out. Then we'll, if we have time after the general store, we'll work on the tavern and inn right here, right? And then lastly, we will have, so I'm going to split this up into a bunch of rooms here, like down the center and then with like a little hall and then little teeny rooms, right? On each side, and then like a tavern in the main area. If they don't want to pay or don't trust the engineering, yep, you're right. Hope y'all liked the work we did. We didn't get a ton done today. I feel bad about that. Lots of little minutia in the bottom level, right? Redid all the pillars, kind of started the road and cleaned that up. Fixed up the staircase, added a mailbox and the little booth for the person who's working here. I think they need a stool too. Do they deserve a stool? Or a chair. Let's give them a chair, not a stool. By cooperative, you mean the players cooperate with each other, or they cooperate with the DM and like follow all his hooks? Group took shelter in the hills to the east of town of the undead they were trying to clear so the group of displaced villagers could make a new home, and ran afoul of a large and surprisingly coordinated colony of ogres. Oh no. So I do think, some players don't really understand tabletop gaming as a cooperative thing. It's a cooperative experience, right? And gaming as a whole is, I think a lot of gamers online have forgotten this. You find this in shooters and games that should have teamwork and team-based play. People are often just kind of doing their own thing, focusing on their own goals. That's a combination of the society we have, and a combination of the way the game's designed, and a combination of how the game's facilitated and they learn it, right? I think you, as their DM, GM, you are kind of educating them on this game. Obviously, they need to sit down and read the player's handbook a bit, learn. They're going to learn from playing too, but they also learn by example. So I do understand how cooperative gameplay isn't the same at every table. Some tables, they would rather argue with each other the whole time than cooperate. I think my table loves to cooperate. There are some instances, not so much that we butt heads, but we have different approaches to the same problem. Me, I'm very methodical and like to find traps and disarm them. We have players who are like, I don't like that. I'm just going to run in and arm the trap. I don't care if there's a trap. I'm going to run in and deal with it. You know what I mean? So some people play differently. And we've come to a good kind of medium ground where some traps, I get time to disarm them and discover them and learn about them. And we end up recovering materials from them that we can reuse and recycle, or we can rearm the traps so people can't follow us. The alternative is we save a ton of time when our players who are dorky with low int trigger traps unexpectedly, and it makes for a lot of shenanigans that are hilarious. So I understand what you're saying, that a lot of these games that are ran publicly for profit, your Dimension 20, your Critical Role, your Legends of Evantris, I think to a degree they have agreed to not only allow the game to move forward cooperatively in a good way, so it seems like, it's a group of friends enjoying each other's company and having a lot of fun, which is essentially what you want with D&D, but that also draws a lot of viewers into their gameplay, right? It probably is staged to a degree and also set up in a way that, you're not going to have that one player that is the murder hobo ruining everyone else's fun when you're running a production, right? That being said, they still introduce some mystery and strangeness and randomness. But yeah, I think the encounters are not as organic, and it also sets it up to situations where you're like, wait, they never really let anything, kind of penetrate their bubble and allow us to do other stuff, right? Because they kind of have a certain mentality of how they'll play. I don't know. That could just be the way they play. It could be a little bit staged, Them all being actors and creators, I wouldn't put it past them having some of that as pre-configured, a plan to follow for their gameplay. But if things go off the rails, they have, kind of an expectation that might happen as well. I wouldn't say we argue or disagree at our table. If anything, we have different ways to approach problems. We have a very good group. My group hardly ever has disagreements as far as I'm aware. I don't think there's any bad blood or anyone at the table, dislikes anyone or the way they play. We all kind of have our own play style and everyone agrees with it and lets them play their way. We have the passive player who likes to buff the players and debuff the enemies. We have the low-int fighter who loves to just run into action and Leroy Jenkins it all the time, and he probably takes 100 hit points plus of damage per game. We have our paladin who loves to protect the players and take damage, but also do a lot of damage, right? Our cleric is very similar. They like to protect the group and keep them from getting hurt because their character's been through a lot of strife where they were not accepted by many, but now they finally found a group that accepts them for who they are, and they like that. My character is paranoid after being put in prison because he was like a goody two-shoes halfling who never really did anything wrong, and he's afraid he's going to be imprisoned again or captured, so he goes through in crazy hoops to make sure that stuff doesn't happen again. Over prepping for things, Batman level preparedness, and being paranoid about situations. That said, I often get my party into trouble too, just doing silly stuff like fishing, like I mentioned earlier. Or one time we were given a gift of like alcohol from our like one of our patrons that we did jobs for, but we didn't trust them, and I was worried it might be poison, so I did, purify food and drink on it, and then I turned the very nice bottle of alcohol that we were gifted into nothing more than a bubbling cider. So I ruined it. The party was really mad about that one because we could have sold it. And I was thinking, hey, I'm protecting the group, but in the end of the day, I did not help them. We all do silly things sometimes, as our character would do. The one thing I want to remember, I want to remind everyone, right, while we're talking about this as DMs and players, DMs, your players do make those decisions. It's not just their player character's decision, how their character would do it. At the end of the day, they're the ones pulling the trigger, making the decisions. And if you have a player who is counterproductive to the group, wants to have their own excursions all the time, so you split the party, is keeping secrets, and really just doesn't want to play as a group or in a cooperative situation, they may not be for a table that is trying to do that. You know what I mean? Every table a little bit different, and you need to find chemistry that works for the whole group. Do they argue but have fun? Like because they're principles and they're arguing because of that? Anani? Loveland, I hope I even covered what you were saying to a degree, because that's a very in-depth subject. Obviously, with entertainment and production level entertainment like that, they probably have, some of this story and cooperation is scripted, right? You have to a degree, because like if a TV show wasn't scripted, it would be mayhem, right? And that's kind of what movies are starting to be. They're changing the script as they're filming it and doing stuff, and it's kind of making movies awful. Have you noticed like a lot of movies in the last 5 years or so have been like, what the heck is this about? Having a hard time following this. It's not really enjoyable, and I'm not engaged. Oh, do you have someone that has a traveler type god talking in their head? I've never really seen that in gameplay before, and the way that they did that in the Mighty Nine was hilarious. I really like this. I'm excited for next week so we can work on it some more. Considering turning these out, but then when they're right here, you can face them. Oh, nice. Hey, Jack, how you doing? I mean, I get it, USMC Ninja. Like, you're not there to be a shrink for the group and, a mediator for all their problems. You're there to run a game, and they're a bunch of adults. They should be able to manage their own drama and interpersonal relations rather well. You know what I mean? I think adults always butt heads and have differences of opinions, but I do think it's a good idea as a DM to find a table that matches your pacing and style of gameplay. And if you are looking for a group of murder hobos, then that's your table. If you're looking for a cooperative group of players that catch all your hanging lanterns, follow your hooks, and come up with creative solutions to the problems you placed in front of them, every group is different. I've heard of groups that just all they want to do is fight and blow stuff up and fireball. Heard of groups that love to RP, like RP like a ton. My group barely RPs, barely, very little RP, but we do love problem solving. We do love helping each other out and cooperating. So I think our group will go the distance for that reason alone. I think I need to start messing with people with telepathic speech, because I have the message spell, right? The cantrip. So I could totally just start messing with people with that. We RP a little bit here and there, like in our breaks, like our short rests and long rests, there's some RP, or when we're shopping a little bit if we're doing it, or we're meeting up with someone for a quest. We joke around a lot, though. We have a lot of fun, like a lot of fun. We're just constantly laughing and playing, to each other's, quips, if you will, making a lot of little references and in jokes and stuff. Jack, how's life treating you, bud? Haven't seen you around lately. Hey, Atlam, could you message me about that word you just added? What was going on? Was someone saying something and you had to add it to the ban list or whatever? Or the safe list or non-safe list or whatever? Been kind of meh. I'm sorry, Jack. Just DM me after the stream if you want. We know so I know what was going on. I just want to be in the know, My voice is finally feeling a little bit stronger. I was worried after this weekend it would be toast again because I had stream Saturday, D&D Sunday, and then stream today, but it seems like it's good. Yeah, I think I'm happy with the work I got done today, and I'm excited to move on to next week's work. We got the stables pretty much settled. We're going to work on the general store, and then the inn, and then the exterior area. I want to put like a little dock and like stairs over the watering hole here. I want to have a road kind of passing through this area that's clear that that's the road, and then little camping spots over here. Maybe even add like a place to park some wagons here or something. I think that's a good idea. By the way, everyone, if you enjoyed the stream today, could you do me a favor? If you're not already, could you drop a follow on the stream, whatever platform you're watching on, whether it's a subscribe or a follow or a like or whatever, means the world to me as the community manager, but also it helps get the word out about these, streams, more people following and sharing the stream, the more word of mouth, etc. It helps the stream grow exponentially. Benefit of following too is you don't miss out on feature streams. It's easier to find us, and sometimes you'll even get notifications when we go live. Now, I do have one other minor favor to ask community members new and old here. Does it, Ron? So the other favor I have to ask is I know many of you are owners of Dungeon Alchemist and have used it extensively. I was wondering if you haven't already, if you could take the time to leave us a review on Steam. We are trying to go from very positive to overwhelmingly positive with our reviews. I'm not asking for positive, I'm asking for honest reviews. So if you've enjoyed your experience with DA, let us know. If you have, issues with it, please let us know. We want reviews regardless. But that being said, I assume most of you have had a positive experience overall with DA. If you haven't left a review, please let us know what your thoughts are on it. That way we can continue to grow as developers and artists. If you've already done it, then you are on top of it. Thank you. I know many of you have likely already reviewed Dungeon Alchemist, but if you haven't, or if you're not sure, take a look at DA. in Steam and drop us a review. Let us know what you think about the product. Little quick look around here just to make sure, get an idea of what we're going to dive into next week. I think I'm really happy with this so far. Anyway, hope you all have an amazing day. We're going to wrap up the stream. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is the program you see in front of you. It's a map-making tool and immersion utility that allows you to build maps for your tabletop gaming campaigns, primarily set in a fantasy aesthetic. Works great with games like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. Also kind of leans into a Western, steampunk, or even a Victorian kind of aesthetic. We stream twice a week, every Monday and every Saturday. Monday, today is Mapmaker Monday. Saturday is what we call the Damn Show, or the Dungeon Alchemist Mapmaking Show. Each stream is roughly 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We showcase maps, teach you about map making with Dungeon Alchemist, and provide you real-time support in the way of Q&A in AMA format, which means questions and answers and ask me anything format. So you can ask me anything about Dungeon Alchemist, whether it's our future development, you know, you're working on a map and have a question about how to do something, or maybe you're wondering how I did something on the stream. You can ask, and I will do my best to provide you assistance. If you want to have a question answered or need support and it's not during a stream time, or you know you can't seem to find us on Saturdays or Mondays or don't have time to join us, you can drop into our Discord or hit us up on social media, ask a question 24 hours a day. Our Discord actually has a question forum and a support forum, designated spaces for you to jump in anytime and ask questions related to Dungeon Alchemist. We can share maps, player logs, images, video, and troubleshoot your problems and help you come up with solutions rapidly. Again, thank you everyone for attending, whether it's your first stream or your 500th, where you were actively lurking, or one of our very active mods. Appreciate you all very, very much. I'm going to run a Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and then we're going to end the stream, okay? Back out. Bye. One moment. Pause this music.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta, and before...
Who do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever. Find family. Kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have
To the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered mapmaker, on Steam today.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you Saturday. Mac out. Oh, by the way, Saturday, very special guest, Geronimo, one of our most prolific community cartographers, will be joining us for an interview on stream, answering your questions. You can dive into the mind that is Geronimo and try to pick his brain and learn more about his map-making process. Anyway, thank you again, everyone, for being here. We'll see you back on Saturday. Bye.